So this is a drive-in, the 1983 Triumph Acclaim L. Apologies in advance for the sound of the exhaust rattling, it really is garbage. Line this window up. So these are a front-wheel drive car, as opposed to the Dolomite, which was rear-wheel drive. And quite a lot more powerful. The 1.3 litre overhead cam in this develops about 70 horsepower compared to my Dolomite 1300's 50 odd, about 58 I think. This also has fifth gear, which means that motorway speeds are considerably more relaxed. This actually doesn't rev any higher at speed than my 2005 Honda Civic, with 60 being about 3,000 RPM and 70 being 3.5, which is not too bad for a car this age. I think it's more than adequate. Front discs, rear drums, as is fairly common for small cars of this era. It's quite a lot more refined than the Dolomite, easier to drive, not quite as comfortable, it's a bit crashy over bumps. But I wouldn't be able to accelerate up this hill in the Dolomite. That just wouldn't happen. 30 miles an hour in third, that would not be occurring. The speedometer overreads a little bit in this car. The tachometer is more accurate for keeping track of how fast you're going. So I use this as my everyday car, and it's really perfect for that sort of task. I'll have to open the window, it's very warm. It's a car that's old enough to be interesting and DIY friendly, but it's got that Japanese reliability to it. These cars have the lowest warranty claim number of any British Leyland built car. They really were very well designed and very well put together. And that shows in the figures that they achieved. Gearboxes are reliable, if a little bit notchy. And these cars will easily clock up 150, 200,000 miles with no real issue at all. And they really do drive quite well. This isn't the best testing ground, pottering around town, but they'll happily sit at 65 to 70 miles an hour on the open road. They're really, compared to the Dolomite that preceded it, a very impressive little car. Perhaps not quite the sporty nature of the 1850 and Sprint models, certainly, but as a replacement for the overhead valve examples, really an admirable car. No power assisted steering in this car, although being light it really doesn't need it. It's also very small, it's smaller than you'd think. Even by the standards of 1981, this is not a large car. Although it does have a boot rather than being a hatchback. It's square and easy to see out of, and there's so much glass area. It really is very easy to drive and manoeuvre through tight spaces that you wouldn't expect a car to be able to squeeze through it, especially not something as large as a modern Fiesta or something. There's also loads of room inside, which is handy. You do end up quite close close to your passenger, it has to be said. Apparently that was one of very few changes that they made to the Japanese specifications. That Triumph's engineers rejigged the interior around a bit to feature slightly wider seats to accommodate a slightly broader Western market, I suppose. This is the sort of environment where my Dolomite would potentially start to struggle with sitting in this traffic in the heat, whereas the Acclaim has no such issues. Once the temperature gauge climbs to about the halfway mark, the electric fan kicks in and it'll just hold that all day. The idle in this car is a little bit rough. I'm trying to work out why. I need to replace the HT leads, but they're proving a little bit of a struggle to find. All of the eBay sellers I've tried have them say that they're sold out, so I don't know if they'll ever be resupplied, so I may just have to order custom HT leads to particular sizes. And that's the next port of call, and after that I'll have to investigate the distributor and the carburetors. Carburetors in these cars, the twin carbs, are Kine, something like that, and they're apparently a lot of the parts for them are effectively unobtainable. Some bits are shared with the old Honda Goldwing motorcycle. You can get a couple of O-rings and things, but internal diaphragms seem to be extinct, which is a bit of a shame. But no, I quite like this car. It makes for a good daily runabout. You could clock up some pretty hefty mileages in these with little to no issues, I'd imagine. Indeed, last year, before I bought the car, it only covered 100 miles between its MOTs. I think the previous owner used to trailer it to and from car shows. And then I bought it and just kind of threw it into daily use, and there's not been a problem with it. All I've done really is basic service work, filters, oil, spark plugs. It could do with a new set of tyres. This is on its original equipment fitment. 145 8013s. When I get a new set for it, I think I'll probably go up to 155s. Oh dear, this traffic is absolutely abominable. Not expecting it to be this busy. I might try and find another way around. Okay, alternative route achieved. I'm now just going back the way I came. Apparently Great Western Road was absolutely chocker with traffic, so there was no point in sitting there for 1,000 years. Apologies for the not terribly interesting drive, but I don't particularly want to leave town today. It's a bit of a trek. One thing I'm surprised about is that this car features a surprisingly raughty exhaust note, considering its reputation for being favoured by pensioners. when new. But being a Honda overhead cam engine, it's really very happy to rev. Red line is at 6,000 RPM and it'll quite happily do that all day long. Although I very rarely go over 3.5k, which is sort of a rule of thumb, I find. Little engine. These cars have become slightly popular with the sort of the JDM scene. They'll buy them and then rebadge them back to being Hondas. Well, I think I'll keep mine as it is. Although they do look quite nice on alloy wheels. I think I quite like the pensioner look. Rev happy little engine does somewhat inspire spirited driving, at least more so than the Dolomite with its rattly overhead valve cast iron lump. I will say that this doesn't drive quite as nicely. It doesn't have the same cornering ability as the Dolomite that preceded it, interestingly enough. It does suffer a little bit from torque steer as well, but they're not really sporty cars. So. Perfect for commuting and popping down the shops. Certainly ideal for my uses. Didn't realise the traffic had stopped quite as much as it had. Blimey, it's far too hot today. It looked cool when I was inside, but now out here it's absolutely baking. So there we have it, 1983 Triumph Acclaim. The Tronda. Not a bad car, all things considered. Gets the job done with a little bit of character.